The people I talked to on Wednesday were not the same people. Oh.
A way different person.
Those fighters are unreal. And then, to have McGregor and Poirier going at it, and then he snaps his leg. That was so interesting.
Today on Dear Radio, we're sitting down with Allyson Warren. She was on track to become a dentist until one internship changed it all. From there, it's been working with University of Kentucky Athletics, UFC Fight Week in Las Vegas, University of Houston, and now she's running social media for 6 NCAA national championships.
Somebody asked me not so long ago, they're like, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, work.
Yeah, that is my fun.
I loved sports.
Mixing academics in with working in athletics, how much of a challenge was that?
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I could see that.
You get a resume, you get a resume, you get a resume. I was applying everywhere. I now love the UFC. Sorry to the male fighters I just exposed you, but they'd start with makeup, which still cracks me up.
They do makeup?
Yeah, they all do a little powder, a little chapstick.
Really?
What are we doing? Like, I don't need the whole plan, but like a little hint. Just a little snippet would be nice.
Getting there wasn't always a straight line, and it almost didn't even happen at all. Allison's going to tell us what it really took to get to where she is today. Let's get into it. Yeah, so how have you been?
So good. How are you? Happy 100th episode.
I know. Well, thanks for spoiling it. But yeah, this is episode 100. Yeah, clearly you are an only child. No, things have been good. Can't complain. I mean, before this, we were just kind of catching up. It's been a while since me and you've caught up one-on-one since like what we were talking about Black Friday.
Yeah, crazy. I can't believe it's been that.
I know, but thanks for joining.
It's crazy.
I know. We still talk, and I mean, it feels weird, and we'll kind of get into a little bit of your story about just how me and you kind of used to interact every single day at UK. But it feels weird just not seeing you 24/7 like we used to.
I know. A Snapchat doesn't really count. So.
No, not at all.
Talk every day, but it's a Snapchat. So
yeah, it's a loose form of talk.
Yeah, normally me sending some weird lens filter with like I don't even know. An animal.
No. Yeah, that's just how it usually does, or the weird random faces, and then it's just like, all right, cool. I met my quota for the day. We're done.
I think I sent you one today. I was like a hamster. I'm like, I don't even know why it's the thing, but I think
you did. Yeah. You sent me that, and I was like, what the heck is this? And then I'm over here sweating in our hot gymnasium gym. I'm like, all right, I'm just sending her this and a picture of the weight room, and that's it.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Great communication we got here.
Yeah, that's just how we are.
You're right.
But like you said, this is episode 100, and it's kind of funny how it worked out because, I've been trying to get you on the show for a while. You've been to a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we've done in the past. And then on my way home, I was like, wait, this is episode 100. So congrats on being on episode 100.
Congrats on hitting 100.
Yeah, it's been a while. We took a long break, but we're back into it. But for those who are listening for the very first time or are returners, this is Dear Radio. It is your co-host, well, I guess the main host tonight, Dear LeBrankston, because TK and Siege are not here. But Dear Radio is just a show where we invite guests on, have them talk about their stories, their career field, and at the very end, we wrap it up with a Make It Matter segment about why they do what they do and why they make it matter to them. So I just want to welcome Allison, a good friend of mine, to the show, and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you're from, everything like that.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Allyson Warren, and I'm originally from Hurricane, West Virginia. So went to UK for college, and Langston and I crossed paths without really realizing we ever crossed paths until a few years later when he was an athletic training fellow at UK and I was a sports information director. So at the time, I was doing social media and PR for some sports at UK, specifically men's soccer is where we crossed paths. But currently I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I do social media for the NCAA. So I cover baseball, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's ice hockey, and gymnastics. So I have to always think about it because it's quite a lineup of sports there. But yeah, so Happy to be here. I'm so excited. You finally got me on here.
I know, finally, with my busy schedule, your busy schedule, it's just. I was looking at
me in Indiana. That's the key.
Yeah, exactly. I tracked your location on my phone. I was like, bingo, she's finally back in Indy.
Yeah,
we gotta get her.
Back.
Yeah, from being in California to West Virginia to everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you mention it because not once. Well, actually, it was more than once that our paths kind of crossed, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit. But from us going to UK at the same time in undergrad to where I think you were at Houston. Me and you kind of talked about that when you were at Houston. I was at USF for the women's soccer tournament. We kind of crossed paths because we were hosting that tournament, but we never really like knew each other until I moved back to UK working with men's soccer. And I was like, I don't even remember how we met. It's always so weird. You always have like a really good friend and you can't ever really remember like the first time meeting each other. You just feel like you kind of known this person forever. And that's just how you've been these last 6 years, 5-6 years.
Whoa.
Something like that. Yeah. It's crazy.
No, really?
Well, because what year did you come back to UK? 2022 or 2021?
22.
Yeah, so about four years. That's going on 5. Yeah, I know. God. I know. Feels like yesterday I was over at Two Keys drinking John Wall shots.
I'm okay that phase is over.
Yeah, me and you both.
Oh my God. No, literally a couple weeks ago I was at a wedding, and it was actually a wedding for, which we'll talk more about this too, but I used to work at the UFC, so I did an internship the summer of 21 with the UFC, and it was a wedding for a girl that I met there and became friends with. And so I took one of my best friends from college as my +1, and she was like, have you realized that we've been friends for 10 years? Like, yeah. Like a 1 and a 0? Really?
Yeah.
10? That's insane. It's insane. So it's crazy how fast time flies for sure.
No, I mean, it's just like what me and you were kind of talking about the other day, talking about Chance the Rapper's coloring book album on the 10-year anniversary. And you're like,
10? No.
Yeah, 10. 10 years ago, I was still at my parents' house in like my sophomore year at college. I'm like, oh man, this is fun. I'm living my best life. And 10 years later, I'm like, dang, I got rent, I got bills, I got loans I got to pay off, all this annoying stuff. So
yeah, I hate being an adult. This is no fun.
I'm like, take me back. That's why I tell my high school kids, I'm like, hey, you enjoy it while it lasts. Like, you complain about all the high school stuff you do now, and you go to college for 4+ years, depending on where you go and what your degree is in. And then you become an adult and you got to pay off everything. You got bills, you got car loans, you got everything. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
What in the world? Yeah. I don't know if I'd necessarily want to go back to like high school itself, but I would still live with my parents again.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And it's like, now I live alone, and it's like, I do all the laundry. I have to do dishes. I have to clean. I'm like, man, really had it good back in the day.
Yeah. You don't know what you got till it's gone. That's the famous saying.
I love going home and my dad will be like, going to make you a coffee? And I'm like, yes.
Yep.
Two while you're at it. Yeah.
Yep. No, it's gotten to the point where I go home and my mom's like, oh, here, give me your dirty laundry. I'll do it. I'm like, no, like if I let you do it, then I'm going to get home and then I'm going to get used to it. And just let me do it. I'll take care of it. I'll fold it and everything. And then even when it's the night before I have to drive back from Florida, I of course, I'm always doing last second laundry so I don't use electricity at my place. And my dad's like, I'll be packing the car. And before I know it, my dad's folding all my laundry. I was like, I miss this.
Oh, I love it. I'm like, I'm just going to put my like bowl in the sink and magically it gets put away somewhere.
Yeah. And then you go back to your place and it's just sitting there until you take care of it.
Yeah. And then I'm like, dang, for one person, how many dishes do I use?
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Yeah. And then it's crazy because like for me, I'm like, dang, where did all my forks go? I only live by myself. Like, how many forks did I use this week? And you're like, I did use it all in all this.
Spoons and bowls are the two that I'm like, man, didn't I just do this? Did I just clean this?
But kind of wrapping back into everything about just your time at UK. I know you kind of mentioned it to me about this, which I don't realize I think I ever knew until you told me, but you were what was it? Pre-med?
Pre-dentist.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's so funny. My mom definitely got a very big "I told you so" moment in college, because I was in a friend group in high school where everybody was going to be a doctor or some form of being a doctor, and so I, of course, was like, well, me too, I guess. I literally I never had a cavity. I had braces. Like, I have straight teeth. Like, that's all it was. I was like, sweet, they make a lot of money and I have good teeth, so I'm going to be a dentist. So stupid. So dumb. Looking back, I'm like, the logic there was missing. But it's so funny because I look back and I'm like, I was in show choir. I always was in a lot of things like student council, or I gave a speech in front of my entire high school when I was a senior. And so I was always doing a lot of public speaking, anything. I danced. So everything like performing, public speaking, that's where I was really strong. Math and science, I was not strong. And my mom was like, why don't you look into integrated strategic communications, ISC? And I'm like, no, human health sciences. I'm going to be a dentist. I want to be an orthodontist, actually. Very, very ambitious little 18-year-old. Did one semester. Actually, like, I had to interview to get into the program. It was a whole process. And one semester in, when I had a 9:00 class that was calculus with bio applications, hell with a capital H. It was horrible. I couldn't pass the classes. It was terrible. And I was like, I either need to make a decision to make a change, or college is going to literally suck, because I couldn't do anything fun. I couldn't pass my classes. Like, I was literally miserable. And so I did this thing called Common Market, where I basically picked a major at UK that was not offered in the state of West Virginia. So I was able to tap into in-state tuition, which was a huge, huge blessing. So I had to make sure I switched to something within the Common Market. So ISC was available, and I decided to make the jump and go for it and change to PR. And literally that next semester, WVU adopted ISC, and so it was no longer in the Common Market. And so I was grandfathered in, but it was a big timing is everything type of moment, because I probably could have stayed at UK, but I probably would have, racked up a lot of loans and debt. And, that's obviously something you don't want to rack up. So definitely was able to avoid that, luckily, by just taking a leap. And, that's my biggest advice now to anyone that's in college. I'm like, change your major. If you're not happy, change it. No one is holding you down, making you want to be a dentist. This is on you. But I think the biggest turning moment for me is this was a very long-winded explanation, but I had to shadow a dentist as part of a class credit. And I literally had a dentist say to me, every day you want it to be boring. You want every day to be boring. I thought, no, I don't want every day to be boring like that. No, thank you. And I think it was either that or when I passed out in the middle of the dental office. One of those was the sign that I needed to not, maybe, but I actually interned that summer for a family friend who is the CEO at a advertising PR agency in Charleston, West Virginia, and I loved it. And so I decided to go the PR route. And junior year of college, I decided to apply for an internship with athletics because I loved sports, and sport PR really interested me. And so UK Athletics, they accepted me as an intern. God love them. And the rest is history. So
yep.
Shout out Evan Crane for hiring me.
No, it's kind of weird because it's I never knew that story until I don't know, probably within the last year when you told me, but we have very similar stories of where you wanted to go pre-dentistry originally. I don't know if you know this, but I wanted to go pre-med because I wanted to become a sports medicine doctor. And then very similar routes of I failed chemistry. I wasn't doing great on top of working UK football and working in athletics and doing my internship. I was like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. And then it took me again, very weirdly, to my junior year to figure out, oh, hey, I want to go to athletic training. Like, yeah, that actually kind of clicked in my head because all sophomore year, I was like, obviously, I'm not going pre-med. Like, I can't make it. My grades are terrible. And I remember going to the not the guidance counselor, but the career center or whatever it's called on campus.
Advisor or whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, the one over by where was it at? It was by like the library because my academic advisor was all the way in the College of Ed, all the way to the north side of campus. But there was like a career center somewhere near the library to where it's like, hey, come to us. We'll help you figure out like your career field, like if you have questions, which by far did not help me at all because the lady, I remember very vividly, the lady that I was talking to, she was like, okay, so what do you want to do? I was like, well, I really want to work in sports. Like I'm in athletic training internship right now. I really wanted to go pre-med / PT, but like I can't. And she's like, well, why can't you? And I was like, well, lady, if you listen, like I just told you my grades are so bad that I can't get in. And she said something along the lines of like, oh, you could do it. Like you could do whatever you want. Like, basically whatever, like Disney Channel movie, like whatever you set your heart out to be, you could do it. And I looked at her for like 10 seconds. I was like,
is that when you said, well, it's not my dream anymore, Dad, it's yours.
Yeah. But I looked at her and I was like, no, I can't do it. And so I left home or left the career center, like just frustrated. Like I remember walking past all the Woodland Glens back up to Nutter. And I was like, all right, well, obviously I can't do this. Like, I really like AT. Like, I think I'm just going to become an AT. And right then, my junior year, started applying for athletic training schools, doing all the extra testing I need to do. And then, again, like what you said, the rest is history. And it's also kind of weird, too, because I didn't really know much about the common market, like what you were talking about. Because we had Emily Fields on 2 episodes ago, and she was in the same boat because she's from Georgia. She said she did that.
ISC too, yeah,
she was ISC too. So it's kind of funny, just hearing about how you're the right time, perfect moment, everything like that, and how everything kind of works together for the bigger purpose of life and your life lessons and everything like that.
Well, what's crazy too is, had I not put myself in a hole after freshman year, grade-wise, I never would have taken summer classes. And then I never would have continued taking summer classes because I liked how I stayed in that student mindset. Even if I was just taking like, I don't even know, I'm trying to think one of the summer classes I even took. I always would do like core credits. So it was always like, it wasn't anything that was a crazy lift by any means in the summer. Had I not done that, I never would have graduated early, which people are like, I graduated early. I'm like, I didn't mean to. That was an accident. Like I genuinely did not mean to do that. I'll never forget my academic advisor telling me, and I had the biggest like, oh shoot moment of my life. I was like, you mean to tell me I've got to figure my life out a whole semester earlier now? Like, are you okay? Because I'm not.
Yeah.
But looking back, I'm like, had I never been in that hole, had I never continued taking summer classes, I never would have graduated early. And then because of COVID, I never would have gotten to walk. So it's like, I look back and I'm like, okay, shout out pre-dentistry, because although it was a terrible decision on my end, it ended up working out for the best. So a lot of my friends, I mean, did you get to walk? I don't know if I ever asked you.
Yeah, I got to walk. Yeah. So I got to walk for undergrad, but grad school, which I was more pissed off that I didn't get to walk for, I didn't get to walk for that.
Yeah. Grad school for me, I did it all online. So
yeah,
kind of funny. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, I'm an only child, so I'm stubborn as heck. Like that's, if you know me, you know, that's, yeah,
facts.
It's just sort of my personality, unfortunately. And fortunately, I guess. But I'm so stubborn, and I was like, absolutely not. I am not doing grad school. Heck no, not interested. 2 days after Christmas, I'd bebop down the stairs, and I was like, I want to go to grad school. My mom looked at me like I'd lost it. She was like, you want to do what? I was like, yeah, I want to go to grad school. She's like, you've been saying for months you don't want to do that. I'm like, now I do. So I ended up doing online grad school through West Virginia University. And I didn't walk for that because I did the whole thing online. And so I literally ordered a like cap, which is not even, I don't even think you wear a cap for I ordered like a normal, just like navy cap off Amazon on a stole. And I like heat transferred flying WVs on the stole. And I went to the state capitol because it was much closer than going to Morgantown. And I took grad pics. I didn't walk or anything. I took grad pics. So I'm like, I did get to walk for undergrad though, but I didn't get to walk for my master's either. But mine was
different reasons.
mine was by choice and not wanting to go 4 hours to walk in a ceremony with people I've literally never met. So
yeah, exactly. No, it's kind of weird because it's like I was in the same position where I put myself in a hole.
Yeah.
To where after that first semester freshman year, I ended up my GPA was like a 1.6. Ooh, and
something. So yeah. It was bad.
Yeah. And my mom was like ready to beat me. My boss was ready to beat me. And again, it kind of put me into that perspective of like, hey, this is probably the lowest I can go in the college level because any other lower, I'm going to get kicked out or my mom's going to beat me. So I need to figure out how I can get back up. And like I kept my butt in the library, professor hours, any like the science building had like the extra tutoring centers for like chemistry. Like I was in there every single day getting all the extra credit I could get. Because I think every time you logged in or went in there and like swiped your card, you get like 1 point of extra credit in there. Yeah. And then eventually finally ended up with like a 3.5, 3.6 and like really like got myself up to there. And I think if I would have never done that, like grad school would have never been even in my front mind or even a thought. Like, and especially with me going to grad school of like, okay, I know everything. And then that first test is I'm like, all right, well, like clearly I don't know everything. I got to transfer my mind and figure out how I can take these tests. But it's like, if I never knew how to do that from my freshman year to go into grad school, like I would not be where I'm at right now.
It's funny you say that because I mean, test taking was never my strong suit. Never. I mean, I was a horrible test taker. I would have a lot of like test anxiety, but it's also like I recently was diagnosed with ADHD. So I've said for years, I'm like, your girl needs to be medicated because I'm like squirrel, ball, horrible. And so I look back and I'm like, that probably would have been a beneficial diagnosis back in the day. But I was a terrible test taker. I couldn't focus. I would get so worked up about the test, couldn't focus, nothing. Honest to God, sophomore year of college was when I figured out how to take tests.
Yeah.
It's like it took, like I finally figured out my system that worked. But freshman year, I mean, God, I would just stare at the pages of numbers and symbols and it was horrible. It was horrible. And I look back and I'm like, ugh, I wish I could just hug little college Allison and be like, girl, you're going to be fine. You're going to be good. Like,
it's crazy.
I'm going to find you, queen. You're good.
Exactly.
You're never going to use calculus ever again.
Never. There's so many useless classes that you'll never use in college again.
But the other thing, after I switched my major, I took a Comm 101 class. Loved it. I loved it. And it was like, oh, so classes can like be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Like maybe I should switch because I don't want to throw myself down the stairs right now of this lecture hall. Like this is great.
Yeah.
Like, didn't. And on top of it, I had the sweetest professor and I would like go to his for calculus with bio applications. Terrible class. Don't take it. And I remember I would like go to his little office hours and I think he just knew I was a lost cause.
Yeah.
I think he pitied me. It was so sad.
Probably.
Oh, I'll go cry about that later. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Just save it for after the show. We can deal with it afterwards.
Exactly. No tears here. Yeah.
No. Yeah. But mixing academics in with working in athletics, how much of a challenge was that? We kind of talked to Emily about it because she was kind of in the same career field as you. Because you guys work together, right?
Yeah, we did. So she started, I think, her freshman year. So she was ahead of me by a couple years. But then when I came on as a junior, we worked pretty much daily together.
Yeah. How was working in athletics is like going from pre-dentistry to something completely different and getting into that athletics world, which is a completely different mindset and realm of its own.
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up in a sports loving family. And so I loved sports. And I know it's so cheesy, but like when you really are doing something that you love, it doesn't feel like work. And as a student who had grown up a huge UK fan, I mean, like my 16th birthday, my gift was UK tickets. Like it was like a surprise. We drove up. It was a whole thing. So I was a huge UK fan. So like having the opportunity to go to football games and like be on the field and be working directly with basketball and directly with the smaller sports and just being opened up to that world, I loved it. So it never felt like work. It really just became a balancing act, which is so funny because that's literally how life is now too when you're still in it. So I think it was kind of like an introduction to the balancing act that is working in sports. But I think because my classes lined up so well with what I was doing with comms and PR athletics, well, athletics, comms and PR. Yeah, athletics, comms and PR, I had it backwards. But I think because my classes were all PR related and I was doing PR, it was like I basically was taking what I was learning in class and applying it directly to my internship. And so it just was like the perfect marriage of class and work that it fit together seamlessly. Now, was it a lot of work? Absolutely. Like it was a lot, especially when I worked every sport as a student. So it was a lot and a lot to balance. But I think because the two fit together so well, it never felt like it was too much, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It's like, it's almost like I was taking what I was sitting in class learning and taking notes on and directly applying it. And so it just gave me that real world example of what I'm sitting taking notes on. So it just all kind of helped it, I think, click more than it probably would have otherwise.
Yeah. What kind of stuff were you taking notes on that kind of applied to that real life world situation? Yeah.
So as an intern, you're doing things like, you might be drafting a press release. So you might be working on a preview, for example. So let's say we have a game coming up. One of the SIDs would say, hey, Allison, are you available to draft this preview for me? Sure. Yep. So I'll draft the preview. Well, in class the week before, we learned how to write press releases and what the formula was for a press release. And so it's like, I literally had just taken notes on press releases or press conferences even. I mean, we saw press conferences and transcribing quotes and, you know, the odds and ends of media relations front and center with that internship. And so when I'm sitting in class and we're talking about press releases or press conferences or interviews and certain formulas for things, and then you're going directly and applying it, it was like the perfect match.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like that's where a lot of college kids kind of miss out to where they don't, like, if you're just going to college with no internship, or if you're going to college working at McDonald's, like, you don't really get to apply all that information. Like
right.
With what you said with the press releases, getting to implement that with your internship. Like with me, it's like, okay, I know how to make sure someone's knee isn't broken or their ACL is not torn. And then being able to see a soccer girl go down, I'm like, oh, okay, well, like, yep, her ACL is gone. Like, I know that. Like, I get to implement it in with school. And I feel like that's what a lot of kids kind of miss out on who don't have an internship, like what we kind of went through, whether it's athletics or outside of athletics. And you don't really get that information or knowledge of like, oh, okay, like I really know my stuff. And also I think it could help you translate it back to the academic side of taking tests of where it's like Johnny hurt his knee. What could it be? And then you're like, well, I remember Johnny got hurt in real life and this is what he experienced. So let me go back to the test and then kind of combine it. It's something that you don't really understand until you're put in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm very much a visual learner. And so when I had real world examples, plus I also interned at Cornett my senior year. Well, I guess technically junior/senior year, but they're an advertising and PR agency in Lexington downtown. And being able to see it on the agency non-sport related side of things and seeing it in the athletics world, it just gave you that more well-rounded perspective and understanding of what you were doing and like why it's important and why it matters. And I think that's a big thing too, because sometimes you do things and you're like, why am I doing this? But when you get the real world example of it and you're seeing it in action, it's like, oh, that's why we're taking notes on this, or that's why we're doing this test, or that's why we're doing this project, or, whatever. So yeah, I think the application of it with those internships was really beneficial, especially for someone like me who I'm very visual. So that definitely was a good thing.
And from going from these internships between athletics and working at Cornett, how did that transition you into your first real job?
Yeah, so COVID hit. So my first real job definitely was a little more delayed than my timeline would have liked it to be. I always joke that I'd love to make a phone call to God and be like, what are we doing? Like, I don't need the whole plan, but like a little hint. Just a little snippet would be nice of like, what the heck are you doing up there, bestie? So, yeah, I stayed at UK. I still had a lease. I'd started grad school, still had an internship. So I decided I was going to stay in Lexington and finish that out. And I was literally at the SEC tournament, the men's basketball tournament in Nashville. And our guys were actually doing a shoot around. So Kentucky just happened to be on the court. And all of a sudden, commissioner walks out and goes, shut it down. We're done. It's like,
wow.
What do you mean we're done? Sure enough, the whole world shuts down. And so then, I just graduated. I'm like, now what? Like, what do I do? So luckily my grad program was still all online. So I kept moving on that. It was tough. I mean, it definitely, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. The whole world shut down. And then when the world reopens, sports are still shut down. So I had a huge identity crisis, I guess you could say. But yeah, so my family owns, well, they don't anymore. They actually recently sold them about a year ago. They did, yeah. So Hallmark's no more in our family, but they owned Hallmark card stores for over 50 years. So sold them about a year ago. My aunt and uncle officially retired. So my grandparents are who started it, and then sold it to my aunt and uncle, and my grandparents retired. My grandma retirement and her never met, I don't think. I mean, she didn't stop. Neither did my grandpa until he had to. So they were still working full time. Let's be so for real. But I went and worked retail for about a year, and let me tell you, I'm so glad I did. I think it kept me social. It kept me in that practice of public speaking to a certain extent. I mean, it is public relations when you get down to it. And I got to, help out my family business, especially in a tough time like COVID. But oof, I don't think I want to work retail again. Let me tell you.
I can only imagine.
Getting yelled at by a customer because you don't have a certain ornament in stock. It's a very humbling experience. And you're also like, just let me call another store. My grandma owns this place. Like, don't yell at me. I'm like, I just work here. I'm like, it's crazy. But I digress on that. But so I worked retail for over a year. It was a great experience. Was it a tough experience? Did I struggle a lot with, this isn't what I want to be doing. I want to be working in sports. How am I going to get there? I was interviewing. I did so many interviews and got so many no's. But in February of 21, I interviewed with the NAIA. So, Brad Seigan is who interviewed me, and he's still one of my mentors to this day, but he took a chance on me, and I was a temporary communications manager with them. So essentially, just like the NCAA, just like every other, sports organization, they moved all their championships into the spring. So they basically had 90 days to knock out all of their national championships, and they didn't have the personnel for it. So they brought me on. I handled, I think men's basketball, was my training essentially. So I went to Kansas City, helped them out with men's basketball, and then did men's soccer and men's and women's golf. Those were my three. And then helped out day to day remotely from home in West Virginia. So that was a huge blessing. It got me back into sports. It got me back into the path that I wanted to be on. And then from there, I moved to Las Vegas, where I was a public relations summer intern with the UFC. After 3 months there, I moved to Houston and was an SID at Houston. So I did the PR and social for their soccer, swim, and tennis programs, as well as helping out with football, basketball. And then Kentucky called and said, hey, we have a job. Are you interested? And yeah, I moved back to Lexington and was back in Lexington 3 years. And that was a tough decision, to be completely transparent, because I loved Houston. I had like the best friend group. I loved the athletes I was working with. I mean, it was really great, but I knew professionally that UK was the right choice. Personally, I didn't want to move back, and I look back and I'm so glad that I did. So glad that I did. And yeah, after 3 years, it was time to move on to the next thing, and that led me here. So now I'm at the NCAA.
Well, you jumped forward a lot more than what I wanted to go
Sorry.
So,
You should know I'm so dapper.
I'm gonna blame it on the ADHD, but so we're gonna.
I didn't take my medicine today, so.
Oh no!
Sorry.
We'll talk about that later. So let's backtrack a little bit. Going from the NAIA, from COVID. Getting back into that realm, did you kind of feel like more rejuvenated to be like,
yes.
Hey, this is exactly what I want to do? Kind of get you out of that slump of like, yeah, Hallmark's great. Like I could work at Hallmark forever, but this is exactly what I want to do at the NAI level. Did you feel like that sort of rejuvenation of like energy and feeling more motivated, for lack of better words, to get back into that career field? Yeah,
definitely. And it was the perfect setup. I was remote, so I could stay. I stayed in West Virginia. I'd gotten a puppy, Champ. Shout out my son.
Shout out.
Shout out. So I wish he was here. He's unfortunately with my parents because I've been traveling so much for work, but I wish he was here. Otherwise he could do a little cameo. But yeah, I got a puppy. So I basically just got to stay home with my puppy and work in the field that I wanted to be working in. And it was perfect. I got to do a little bit of traveling. I met some really awesome people and really got back into what I wanted to be doing, essentially. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hallmark was a great experience. I have a lot of respect for my family and you know, their businesses that they ran for years and the career that they made, but it just unfortunately wasn't the path that I personally wanted to take. And so being able to go back and work at Hallmark and give back to my family essentially was really wonderful, and be able to help them out in a really tough time. It definitely was really fulfilling, and also I'm sure a blessing for them as much as it was for me. But being able to finally get that yes and finally get back into sports where I knew that I wanted to work, it was huge. It was huge, and it definitely launched me to where I wanted to be, for sure.
Definitely. And then from there, talk about how you kind of use that experience at the NAI level and also at University of Kentucky to propel yourself into the UFC, because I feel like UFC is a very competitive market to get into, at least from the sports medicine side of it. And just kind of talk about how you got your foot in the door with that. Oh my gosh.
First of all, best internship ever. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I was kind of like Oprah there for a little bit, where I was like, you get a resume, you get a resume, you get a resume. I was applying everywhere. Anything that looked even remotely interesting, applied. I mean, because I knew that the NAIA was a temporary spot. So I was just trying to find anything and everything for that next step. And so I actually was on a walk with my parents, and I remember getting a phone call from Vegas. I was like, oh, Vegas is calling. Ha ha. Completely forgetting I'd even applied for the internship. Like I literally, when I tell you I was throwing that resume out left and right, I was. And so I'm like, ooh, Vegas is calling. Ha ha. I made a little joke about it, whatever. Thought it was a scam caller. No, the message is like wanting to set up an interview. I was like, oh, well, that'd be cool. End up getting it. Best thing ever. It was unreal. I knew literally nothing Nothing. When I tell you I knew nothing about it going in, knew nothing about MMA. I knew it was cool and like it interested me, but it's not like football where I'd like grown up watching it, you know?
Yeah.
So I moved to Vegas. I now love the UFC. It
Really?
was so sick. I loved it. So I did a PR internship with them, and every Wednesday, so COVID was still shutting things down. I like still had things, not a full lockdown, but things were still kind of, you know, you had to test every so often and, you know, that kind of thing. So everything was still at the Apex. Every fight night was at the Apex. So every single weekend, I think one weekend I didn't work a fight for an entire 3 months. Every fight night was at the Apex. And so every single Wednesday we'd have media day. So basically the PR team, we'd wait at the front, and when a fighter would come in, one of us would take them to their spots. So they'd start with makeup, which still cracks me up.
They do makeup?
All of them. They do a little powder.
Really?
Oh yeah. I probably just exposed the heck out of them, but yeah. Sorry to the male fighters. I just exposed you, but yeah, they all do a little powder, a little chapstick to get ready for their social activations. And you would walk around with them in their corners and basically just yap, take them station to station, yap along, and just until they were done, they do their press conference, and then you'd send them on their way, and then you'd get with the next person coming through the door. And I mean, the people that you meet, those fighters are unreal. They're unreal. They're some of the most down to earth, amazing people I've ever met. I mean, just so genuine and from so many different cultures. And I think that was a huge thing for me. Definitely one of my favorite parts about the internship. Just learning about where they're from, their countries and their cultures. And I remember at one point I had a fighter, because not all of them speak very good English, and my Spanish is minimal, beyond minimal. I took it in high school, which like means nothing. So I would talk to these fighters. I'll never forget. There was one media day. I speak no Portuguese, zero Portuguese, little to none, mainly none. And this sweet angel, I literally can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she spoke no English. And the two of us managing that media day was hysterical. I was teaching her English. She was teaching me Portuguese. I mean, it was like, but it was just so funny because it's like, it didn't matter. We made it work, but it's also, you're having these cultural experiences that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And so it was just, I don't know, it was really, really cool to be exposed to so many of those fighters one-on-one, and just, like I said, hear their stories, meet their corners, hear their stories, talk about literally anything and everything, down to like their favorite food. Like, you're teaching each other your languages. Like, it was unreal. Fast forward to Saturday nights. The people I talked to on Wednesday were not the same people. Oh, it was crazy because you're like chilling, you're yapping, and then you see them just going crazy in the octagon. It was like, you're not who I talked to on Wednesday. You're a dog. Yeah. You are a dog.
A way different person.
Oh my gosh. It's the only job I've ever had where after they compete, I have to take them to the suture room. It's the only job I've ever had. It's the only job I've ever had that had a suture room, I think. So yeah, it was so cool. I'll never forget, like, you know, you almost become like, you form a little bond like during the week after you yap with them for so long. And I'll never forget, there was one fight, again, couldn't tell you who he was. This angel wins his fight. He's hugging everybody. I get hugged and I'm like, oh, this man's bloody. He's sweaty. I'm like, oh my God, like that's disgusting, but yeah, it's so awesome. But yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot of detail, but I literally loved it. I loved it. It was amazing. And it was just so cool to see those fighters in a different light than you do when you just turned on Fight Pass and watched them or look at their social media. I mean, talk about some dogs. I mean, crazy. But, you know, I was exposed to weigh-ins. I was exposed to everything. But then I also got to work pay-per-view, which was insane. So yeah, definitely the news of McGregor coming back is crazy, because that was the fight I worked when I was an intern was the one where he snapped his leg. So
talk about that whole pay-per-view.
Oh my gosh. I've never in my life seen anything like that. And actually recently I was back in Vegas for the men's Frozen Four for hockey. And we were at T-Mobile, which is where the fight was. And it was just so funny walking around. I'm like, oh, yep, I remember my way around. Like, this is crazy. But I'd never seen it as a hockey rink. So it was kind of cool to see it in a different light. But I mean, I literally sat in the same press box that I sat for the fight. Like, craziness. But going from watching fight nights and what that operation, now again, it's a little bit different when they're in other cities. I never had experience with that piece. We only had them at the Apex, so it was a little bit different. But going from watching the operation at the Apex to watching a pay-per-view was crazy. You had the ceremonial weigh-ins where they're on stage doing their press conferences and they're about to fight each other on stage. And, then they have the real weigh-ins. Weigh-ins, on the other hand, crazy. Watching.
In what aspect?
Oh my God. They just were like zombies. Some of them, especially if they were really struggling to make weight. I mean, they just showed up like zombies.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, it was crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, these poor people. And just like the process of weight cuts, insane. Like all of it was honestly so insane to me because it was such a different world. But anyway, so back to the pay-per-view, just the level. And I mean, we had a free press conference for those ceremonial weigh-ins. The arena was packed. I'd never seen anything like it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. And then of course, the fight itself was just wild. That card was incredible. And then, to have McGregor and Poirier going at it and then he snaps his leg. And I think that was the thing too that was so interesting was there was so much hype. There was so much buildup. And then it's over in like 2 seconds because he gets injured. I mean, it's crazy because you do all this work and you don't know what the outcome's going to be. So that was always an interesting piece. But I think the fight that really got me that particular card was the Sean O'Malley fight. Oh my God. Crazy. That man is crazy. I'm a big fan. Go follow him. But literally, I mean, that kid that he fought, he was pounding him. It was an insane fight. Like I'll never forget just sitting up there and just like watching the whole thing. It was crazy. It was awesome. I loved every second of it.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Can you tell that I loved it? But on top of that, I also met one of my best friends through the UFC. So my friend Morgan, she's one of their on-camera talents and producers. So she went to her wedding a couple weeks ago. So that's who I was talking about. But it was great because I was able, and that's the thing too. Everywhere I've worked, I've come out with the most amazing friends, and it's so neat to see, to look back. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm friends with her because of this job. I'm friends with him because of this job. It's like, I don't know, I have friends all over the country because of the opportunities that I was able to, be granted essentially. So yeah, so I loved it. It was really cool. I've never seen an event and an operation like what they do. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing what they do.
When you were there, was there like a part of you that was like, man, I really miss college athletics? Or was there a part of you that was like, oh, I could definitely see myself doing this at this aspect for a very long time?
I loved it. Like the scale that it was and the large scale that it was at the time, I was like, I could stay here. I want to stay in pro. I want to stay here because the level of just the operation and the detail that went into things. I mean, it was like random Tuesday. I get asked to go with my boss and the two of us walk upstairs to Dana White's office and he's just like randomly doing a full sit down feature with like Fox News. It's just random Tuesday. I mean, the level that it was on was just crazy. And I think I learned so much. I think I matured a lot too. I think a lot of the experiences and the conversations, I think also helped me a lot maturity wise as well. And also, I didn't mention this either. The girl that I lived with is also one of my best friends. Roomed with a random roommate when I was up there. She was in corporate partnerships. That's what she was doing. And we randomly roomed together, got an apartment together, literally one of my best friends to this day. Like, shout out Courtney. I love you. You're my dog. But yeah, so again, back to the friendships piece. But yeah, I don't know. I think everything about it was just so large scale and it just was so professional. Not that college sports isn't professional. It just was another level. It just was another level. And I really liked that level. I liked being on that level for sure. And so college, I kind of was like, I would go back to college, but it wasn't like I ever missed the college world. There's also a lot more money in it too. So when you have a lot more money, your operation's bigger, your operation's better just because you have the money to fund it. And Lord knows the UFC, they've cut money. That is for sure.
Definitely. No, I mean, I definitely agree with you because in the aspect of working at that professional level, and even though UFCs, they don't really have like a college level or whatever, you're still working in a professional aspect. Just like when I did my summer internship with the Las Vegas Raiders,
which is still crazy. Another cross.
Yeah, another cross. I was like, oh, I know what college football is like. You know, working at South Florida for a college football season, working at UK for a season or two, and then you get to the football world, and it's just like, or the professional football world, and you're just like, this is way different. Like you got guys who, if they don't show up, they're getting fined. If you got people who are hurt that are trying to make a roster spot, you're cut. Like they're already looking at people to bring in, and it's just a way different professional aspect. But also like in the professional world, you got guys who are actually like adults. Like you're an adult in college, but like you don't actually act like an adult until you see some of these NFL guys. Yeah, and you're like, oh, these are just normal people. Like it's just a weird environment and weird structured environment to just like, oh, this is way different than college. Like I don't think I ever want to go back to college. Yeah,
well, and that's how the UFC was. I mean, this is their life. I mean, these people, they train and they train and they train and they train for like maybe I also too, the thing that I thought was interesting with college, you have a season. So your season's a few months long. You're playing 1-2 times a week. It's constant. UFC, those fighters fight like maybe 3 times a year. I think 4 is considered a lot. I think 3 is even considered kind of a lot. So that was the other thing. It's like they train all year for this moment. And so they are locked in. They are so serious. Not that college sports aren't serious, because they totally are, but it's a different level. It's a different mindset of, this is your shot and you may fight maybe one more time this year, but if you get hurt, you're done. You're done for a few months. And like, that's where your income's coming from. And like, it's just a different mindset. It's a different world, truly.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you kind of see it at the college level too. Is like, you got guys who are coming in as freshmen and sophomores. They're like, this is cake. Like I'm a 4-star, 5-star prospect. Like I'll be fine. And then it comes around to where like your stats aren't really showing to what you're supposed to be. And then your senior and 5th year, you're like trying to bust your butt to just get a rookie summer camp deal. Whereas like if you would actually bust your butt all 4 years, you could have been gone your junior year in the NFL draft or NBA draft, whatever it is. But again, like what you said is like when you're dealing with these professional athletes, especially in UFC, one big injury in the UFC can take out your whole career. We've seen it with a ton of fighters who they get one fight, break their leg, and they're like, no, I'm done. Which I mean, it could happen in the NFL too, but at least on the NFL, you're more of a salary level. And I don't know what the UFC is, if it's based on pay-per-view or fights or whatever it may be. It's just a different ball game, because if you only work one pay-per-view and then your career is over, it's like, all right, like what's the next step?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, what do you do? I don't know. That's a good question too. I know there's been a lot of discussion about the fighters not being paid enough. I know when I worked there, it was a big topic, but I'm not sure what the answer to that is. But yeah, when you have one moment, your contract is literally like weighing on one moment. All your work is weighing on one moment. It has almost a different meaning, I guess you could say, a different level of intensity, I think. But yeah, I mean, and plus a lot of those fighters were international. So oh my God, I'll never forget. My heart absolutely broke for this fighter. She broke her elbow, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Arm bar, broke her elbow. Terrible. Didn't speak any English. She was from Japan, didn't speak any English. I'm like, I cannot, and she like had to go to the hospital. So that was the other thing. We had a group message where we basically were like, okay, so-and-so's getting transported, broken orbital or whatever. Whatever.
Gee, all in the group chat?
We had a group chat so Dana White could be notified when someone was being transported. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, this is the craziest group message I have ever been a part of. But yeah, I'll never forget. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like this poor girl doesn't speak any English. She now has to go to a hospital in a country that she's unfamiliar with. I mean, oh my gosh, but she worked and worked and worked to be here to then break her elbow like this. And I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Just to possibly not even fight again.
Yeah. I honestly don't know if she did. I should do some research and see if I can find something. I don't remember her name, and that's the other thing too. It was really cool to watch some of the fighters that are really blown up. So like, that's been cool too, to kind of follow certain careers and kind of see, they had one or two fights maybe when I worked there, and like watching them now, it's like, oh, I'll watch a fight literally. Cause I'm like, oh, I recognize her, or I recognize him, I know the name. Yeah. So that was cool too.
Yeah. It's almost like how you kind of see, like, I know me and you have a couple our former college athletes who are now in the pros, and it's like, oh, so-and-so's in town playing for this team. Like, I'll go see them. Like, I remember I went to go see like a Louisville City soccer game, and I think 4 or 5 people on both the teams were there playing each other. And like afterwards, we took a picture all together. It's still on my Instagram. I still need to frame it and put it on my desk at work. But it's just cool moments like that where it's like, dang, like I remember working with this person like as a kid or like as a young up and coming professional, and now they truly made it. And that's just the weird realm of athletics that you kind of work in.
Well, and too, when you're a little, you're like the lowest of the totem pole when you're an intern. And so I mean, there are some fighters I look back and I'm like, she was so nice to me, or he was so nice to me, or their corner was the best. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to root for them forever because they were nice to the little lowly intern. But it makes a big impression. Actually, quick little story off of that too. So also back at the wedding I was at a couple weeks ago, one of the other ladies that was there from the UFC was a makeup artist, and we reconnected at the welcome party. And I was like, I don't know if you remember this at all. I said, but my last day on the job, I asked you to take a couple pictures of me in front of the octagon, and you were like, can I touch up your makeup? And you literally were so sweet. You touched up my makeup. And so it's cool to have little full circle moments like that too, where it's like someone was just so nice to you and so kind when you were like a little baby infant intern. And it's like, it means a lot, whether it's the athletes, whether it's the coaches, whether it's, another coworker. I mean, it means a lot and it sticks with you. So then you ultimately, you root for those people and you want them to succeed because they were kind to the lowest of the low employee. And like, I don't know, it means a lot too. And then you follow them and you root for them and you make a point to celebrate them and their wins. And yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have very similar stories of just working at the Raiders. Like, that's when Darren Waller was really starting to get big. And, like he would come in, talk to some of the guys, talk to some of the other interns, but me and him never really talked until I started like cracking jokes with him. And then he started cracking jokes with me. And then it got to the point where like he was mic'd up one day and I didn't even know he's mic'd up.
No.
And I like offered him some water because we're in the desert. It's like 100 degrees outside. Like it's miserable. Mm-hmm. I offered him some water and he's like, no, I don't want your water. You probably poisoned it. All mic'd up. And I still have the video on my Instagram to this day. And it's just the funniest moment. And from then on, like whenever he come in the training room, he'd look at me and be like, yeah, I got you. And like I'd help him out with whatever he needed. We would talk about like his times at Georgia Tech and how he actually almost went to University of Kentucky, and I was like, probably not, because that was some bad years for UK football. But it's weird being an intern, and then you see like these big superstars or just professional athletes like talking to you as like the bottom of the bottom totem pole and treating you like a normal person. I don't know. It's something weird like that.
It makes an impression, I think, is what it is. And it's like they know you're an intern. They don't have to be nice to you. They don't have to even talk to you, but it's like you're walking around having these full on conversations about life and them as a person, you as a person, where they're from, what they love, what they are passionate about. And I don't know, it makes a lasting impact for sure. Yeah.
And I know you said earlier in the show that when we were talking about staying in the UFC or if you missed college, I know after your stint with the UFC, what brought you back to working at University of Houston?
Yeah, so as an intern, again, applying everywhere. I was, anything that looked somewhat interesting and somewhat as a next step, I applied. So I knew the UFC didn't have any opportunities coming up, unfortunately. So I knew that wasn't an option. So I started looking elsewhere, and I interviewed. I remember I interviewed with Houston and the Jaguars in the same day. Day before that, I interviewed with the Broncos. I remember thinking I was probably going to get the job with the Broncos. Like everything seemed to be lining up. They were calling references. Actually ended up not getting the job with the Broncos. So, I mean, it was another example of no's, no after no. But I actually gained a really great mentor from that Broncos internship. Her name's Megan, and she's one of my mentors to this day. We meet for coffee every time she's in Indy for NFL stuff. But she's awesome. But I just knew that if I wanted to stay in the industry, that I just needed to keep applying. So I interviewed with Houston. They called me immediately and offered me a job. And I called my parents and I said, all right, now we're moving to Houston. We're moving again. So I took the job at Houston. It seemed like the right fit, and it was a great opportunity. And so I went down there, and it's one of my favorite jobs that I've had to this day, just because of the people. First of all, I loved the city. I lived downtown. It was awesome. But I had just the most amazing friend group when I was there, and we had a lot of people that were kind of around the same age and kind of were in the same phase of life. And so I took a chance on going back to college, and I'm really glad I did, because it has ultimately led me here and led me to this job. I think if I would have taken the nose with the 2 NFL teams and let them, determine what I wanted to do and where I was and my fate, I don't know exactly what I'd be doing. But Houston took a chance on me, and I took a chance on Houston. And so I went back to the college world, and I'm glad I did. Glad I did, for sure.
What would you say were the biggest differences, if any, from going back to the UFC, back to college? Was there any change from you being that intern at the University of Kentucky to realizing, oh, hey, like I'm full time at University of Houston. This is not what you expected, but these are things I wish I would have known going into a full time role.
Yeah, money's a big thing, and not only the money that I was getting paid. I mean, I was a communications assistant, so I like to say glorified intern. I've been told that that's not exactly fair, that you are much more than an intern. You're a glorified intern, essentially. And just going from the operation that is the UFC and the system they have going, where, I mean, I knew it was fight night on Saturdays, and I knew we'd start it again. Media day Wednesday, weigh-ins on Friday, fight on Saturday, we'd start it again. Whereas now I'm back to multiple sports at once, many athletes all at once. You're trying to juggle a swim schedule with a soccer schedule and trying to, find that balance while you're also navigating a new city. That was another thing, you're moving on top of it. And so definitely was an adjustment. And also, timing is everything. The head of our office, our comms office at Houston, he left like 2 days. His last day was like 2 days after I started. And then the other two of three full-time, no, four. So other two of four full-time SIDs in the office left like 2 weeks into my internship as well. So it was me, Jeff, who is the men's basketball SID, and then Andrew, who now is no longer at UH, but he ended up becoming the head of the office after I was there. But it was the three of us, an intern and 2 SIDs. Now, granted, very good SIDs, very seasoned SIDs, but it was the three of us running the entire department. And let me tell you.
Wow.
Learning curve. Oh my gosh. Learning curve. It was crazy. I'll never forget. I like cried my first soccer game because it was such a shit show. Excuse me. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
No, you can say whatever you want. You got the mic.
A crapshoot, if you will. It was terrible. I don't even remember why it was terrible. I think the stats went down. I don't know. But I just remember calling my mom after and I was like, I made a horrible mistake. What am I doing? I should not be here. This is horrible. And I remember I was going home the next week anyway. Like, it was just a plan going home. And I remember my boss, Jeff, was like, I was worried you weren't going to come back. He was like, I didn't know about you. I love him. He's hysterical. But yeah, definitely it was a learning curve for sure. And it's also interesting when you go from, you have one sport, you have one thing to focus on, to multiples. And then you go back to that. It's like, ooh, this is kind of shocking for sure.
And I know you talk about how much you loved the University of Houston and how you didn't really want to leave. But what was that key factor that kind of drove you back to the University of Kentucky?
Yeah, so obviously when I was a student, I'd worked every sport. So I'd gotten a text that said, hey, so-and-so is leaving. This job's open. It's going to be gymnastics, men's soccer, women's tennis. And I was like, ooh, I mean, I worked really closely with men's soccer when I was a student. I worked, I think, almost every game. And I knew I enjoyed working men's soccer, and I understood, the process of the soccer operation at Kentucky. Also, I'd been a soccer SID at Houston, so I understood that. Same with tennis. And gymnastics is just fun. I mean, it's glitter and incredible athleticism. You can't go wrong. So I liked the sport lineup, and I remember I really struggled. With the decision. I got another call from someone else that works there, and they were like, this job's open. If you want it, it's yours. You should apply. And I was like, I don't know. Third person calls, and I'm like, okay, this is, they're really on me. This is so sad to admit out loud, but I remember I literally got the call. I think it was Evan Crane, at it again, but he called me and was like, we have this job. It's yours if you want it. If you apply, we'll interview you. And if it's yours, you can have it. We want you to come back. And I remember I literally went to a swim meet. I had a swim meet that day. I get broken up with while I'm at the swim meet, which was just diabolical in and of itself. And I was like, well, shoot, that's a sign. That's a sign. So I ended up going through with the interview. I thought, okay, I'll hear what they have to say, but I don't want to leave. No. I don't want to leave. And actually that Christmas I'd gone to a game. I'd gone to a basketball game with my parents, and it was so great to see everyone. It felt like home. I mean, it was home, but I just kept saying, no, maybe one day, but I don't want to come back right now. I'm happy where I am. God said, you're funny. I have other plans for you, bestie. So, so I interviewed, heard what they had to say. I get a screenshot of their staff group message from, I shouldn't expose him, but Chris Scholes. He's another one of my good friends, but good friends through work that has become a friend outside of work. But he sent, and everybody was like, yes, hire her. Yep, offer it. And I'm like, oh man, really thought hard about it. I love the people at UK. I love UK. I'm a grad. Obviously, I'm a fan. It's closer to home. It was hard. It was hard to take it because I was so happy at Houston, and I loved my friend group. I mean, we were always getting into something, always having a good time. I mean, some of the best people were in that friend group. And so I just kind of had to take the personal out of it and think, okay, career-wise, it's an SEC school, more money, more resources to work with. The sports are, I mean, the SEC, you can't get better than that. I mean, that's the top of the top. And I knew that I would be learning from people that I'd already learned from and had learned so much from, and having the opportunity to learn from them again on that level of being an equal, essentially, versus being their intern. I knew that that would be really big for me. And so I decided to take a leap of faith and leave Houston. And yeah, I'm so glad that I did. I was there 3 years, and it was a huge blessing. It was kind of another learning curve in a sense, because you're basically starting your life over yet again. But yeah, I was really glad I did it. I loved Houston. I loved the people. My athletes were amazing. I still, keep in contact, especially on social media, with some of my athletes and coaches that were there. But yeah, it was a great move, but it was a hard move. And I remember I was so upset. I actually accepted the job and immediately went to College Station to go to a basketball game. They were playing A&M that night, and I had just accepted the job, and I was like, oh crap. What have I done? I've accepted it. I don't want to go. Why am I going? I was ticked off, honestly, at myself, knowing though in the back of my head it was the right choice. I'm driving back from College Station, had to go straight to campus at UH on the way home to do something. I think I had a game or something. And Eric Lindsay, who actually is no longer at UK, but he was the SID for men's basketball and women's golf when I was there. He called me, and he had just announced he was leaving. He now works at the Blood Center, but I remember he called me and he was like, I know you're probably really struggling. You're probably questioning your decisions. You probably have a lot of anxiety about this, but just know that you're making the right choice. And oh my gosh, am I going to cry? Jeez.
I told you, say that for later.
Tears were coming. No. But he said, this is the right choice. You're making the right decision. I know it's tough. And he said, I'm sure you're struggling. I hadn't told anyone that I was like questioning my decision at all. Like, this came out of the blue because I was taking over women's golf for him. So he was calling to tell me that he had talked to Golda, who, again, amazing coach, absolutely adore her. But he, was calling to talk to me about golf, but he was like, I know you're probably dealing with a lot of anxiety and a lot of questions about doing this. He said, I know you probably don't want to come back here because you seem really happy at Houston, yada, yada, yada. But just know that if you take this job, or just know that you've taken this job and it's the right choice, and you're going to be able to go anywhere you want after working here. And I remember I was just like, God, okay, well, there's my sign that I asked for. All right, well, guess it's a full send. So that was just a huge moment for me, and him calling me, and it just was like big validation. I'd say that I was making the right choice, because it was completely unprompted. I mean, he was calling to talk about golf. And yeah, so I packed up my life yet again and moved. But my sweet angel of a father he flew down to Houston and helped me. I was supposed to be packing for days before we got there. I didn't pack anything.
No, never.
No, I was too busy like on the Allison goodbye tour. Like, we were not packing anything. So we packed up as much as we could and shipped. I mean, we shipped an ungodly amount of boxes to Kentucky, and we made it happen. But let's just say my mother made sure we knew that we were not supposed to go into the moving business with the amount of broken and not wrapped correctly stuff we had going, but we made it work. We made it work.
Looking back at it, do you think that was the right decision for you to move everything from Houston to go back to the University of Kentucky?
Yeah, it definitely was. And it's, hindsight's definitely 2020. At the time, like I said, I did not want to come back to Lexington. I was irritated. I was upset because, I was leaving a life that I was building at UH that had a lot of amazing people who had become like family. And we were always getting into something. It was always so much fun. It was such a good group. I don't know if maybe one person is still at UH out of that group. Either they've gotten out, either they've gotten married and had babies and left, or they've left Texas altogether, or they've gone to a different industry. And so it kind of started after I left too. So I leave, and then it just kind of like everyone just started finding new jobs and leaving and moving, and it just, I'm like, oh, so if I would have stayed, like I could have potentially had nobody by the time that, a year from then, I probably wouldn't have, my friend group would have been much different. So I look back and I'm like, the people who made it so wonderful aren't even there now. So, it definitely, hindsight's 2020, of course, always, but I definitely, career-wise, but also personally, it was the right choice. Career-wise, I knew it was, but personally, I didn't realize it was until later.
And you mentioned earlier that if you go to UK is one of those places that if you spend a couple years there, kind of work your butt off, you can go anywhere and everywhere that you want. That's just what I've been told. I know that's what you've been told. Yeah. What is something that you've learned at the University of Kentucky that you don't think that you would have learned anywhere else?
Oh gosh, I don't know necessarily. I wouldn't have learned it anywhere else, but I just think it was maybe more emphasized at UK, was how important connections are and networking is. My boss currently makes fun of me when we're at any type of event together, because he's like, everybody. He's like, you literally know everybody. And I'm like, yeah, because at UK, professional development was a big emphasis in our office. So we all had the opportunity to go to CUSIDA, which is CSC now, but it's basically the SID convention essentially. And going with Susan Slacks, going with her and budding around with her. Well, then she introduced me to so many people just by hanging out with her and just by, taking a chance on going, trying to better myself professionally, going to a conference. Well, now, two of them, Scotty Rogers and Jason Fine, I call them my uncles. They call me their niece. Like, they've adopted me. Those are my uncles. And, I never would have met them probably had I never, been given the opportunity to do a lot of that professional development. And I think that plus the connections you make just through the job. People that I worked at the UK, they may not even be there now, but I have connections everywhere because of that and because of the people that I met there. So I think definitely the emphasis on networking and connections. I think UK is a family. There's definitely that family mindset to UK. And I think that, everybody, they're coworkers, but they're also like personal friends as well. And I think that family dynamic that UK has, which can be a positive and a negative, absolutely. But I think that because everyone's so invested and they care so much about the people as people, I think that, at least in my office, that was the experience that I had. CPR, it was definitely a family. I know other departments, weren't exactly that to an extent at all, but I know that CPR definitely was. And I think just that emphasis on caring about you as a person and your development, both personally and professionally, and how important it was to give you those experiences, to go work an SEC tournament when you're a student, or give you the, because SEC tournaments, the SEC staff, I adore them. There's so many people at the SEC that I love, and it's because I had the opportunity through UK athletics, comms, and PR to connect with them and to meet them. So I think it's a thing everywhere, the connections and the emphasis on, how important networking is. But I think UK, at least the CPR department, does a really good job of actually putting that into practice of how important networking is. And yeah, I think that was a big thing, that plus the family dynamic that department has. I think that really was something special and different for Kentucky.
I agree. I think what you kind of talked about, the networking and the connection, and just even going up and talking to someone. Because I remember 10 years ago when I started as like an intern at University of Kentucky football, obviously I had no idea what I was doing. And if UK back in the day, like they still kind of are, but back in the day, they were very old school. And I remember some of the very first things that I was taught from my boss. He was just like, whenever the full times walk in, you say good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, you say hello. When you leave, you make sure to say goodbye to everyone. And that's something that always stuck in my head, because I was like, all right, like whatever. And then of course, all of the full-time staff will walk in. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hey, I'm heading out for the day. See ya. Have a good night. So whereas like, all right, like, hey, you're one of the very few people that actually do it. Let me connect you with this person. Or like when I went down to South Florida, I did the same thing. And they're like, what is this kid doing? Like, why is he talking to me? But then it like caught on to where it's like, hey, this guy makes sure to go out of his way every single day to say good morning and goodbye. Even if I remember there was a story about when I was at the Raiders, because the way I got the Raiders story is the guy called me, the head of sports medicine. He called me, like, hey, talk to your boss at UK. I'm not even going to interview you. Do you want the job? I was like, yeah, duh. Like, of course. Yeah,
like, I'm not going to turn that down.
Yeah. So I get to the Raiders and I do the same thing every single morning. Everyone walks in. I say, hey, good morning. 9 times out of 10, they would walk right past me because when it's 4:30 in the morning, 5 a.m., no one wants to say, hey, good morning. Except for me. I've already been there for a couple minutes. I already got woken up. I'm on my first Red Bull of the day. And I go, hey, good morning. And I remember all the interns, they kind of laughed at me. And they're like, oh, yeah, hey, so-and-so. Like, they didn't even say hi to you. And then 5 minutes later, the guy came back around the corner. He's like, oh, hey, good morning, Langston. Like, good to see you. And I was just like, see, I told you it works out. But it's building those little connections to where now I know so many people that can get me into different rooms, or if even something as little as saying, hey, happy birthday to a guy that I haven't talked to in 10 years. And they respond like that. I'd be like, hey, thank you. Like, hope you're doing great. That's one of the biggest things that I think that I've learned from Kentucky, at least.
Yeah. And it's just, there's such an emphasis on respect. And it's something so small, like saying hi to people. Something so small, but it makes a big impact. Yeah.
Cause I remember kids when I was a kid and in undergrad, they'd be like, are you saying good morning? Like, I'm scared to talk to them. I'm like, no, like, it doesn't matter. They're human beings. If they want to say screw off or whatever, then cool. But at least like you're being polite and respectful. Yeah. And then I remember coming back, it was going in my senior year. I went into my boss's office at the time, and I was asking for letter of recommendations and asked for his letter of recommendation. And he goes, you know what? Like, you've really built a really good relationship with me over the last 4 years. You always said good morning and always said goodbye. Like, a lot of people are afraid to talk to me. They don't want to come talk to me because they're nervous or scared that I'll rip their head off, and rightfully so. And he's like, but you've always come in, made sure to build a great relationship with you or with me. So whatever you need, just let me know. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a kind of aspect of where the younger generation kind of loses is, like, I don't know if it's a necessarily thing of, oh, well, like, I did this, so they're automatically going to give me a good letter of reference, or they're going to put me in a great spot. Like, I know I've earned it. When in reality, if you're not maintaining that relationship and only like using them, then it's like, it's not going to benefit you in the long term.
Yeah. And I mean, how good's a recommendation on your resume if they don't know you?
Yeah.
I mean, like, she shows up to work every day. That's about all I got,
Yeah. But there's not much after that.
To build those relationships and build those connections. It's a different dynamic. It's more impactful for sure. I mean, I'll never forget Mr. Barnhart sending cookies to our department. And he said to put it out it was me and her name's Emily. She's no longer there. She's a graphic designer at Baylor. Baylor now is where she is. And it was the two of us sitting out in the open area at the time. And he said he brought the cookies out because we were just so nice and would always talk to him when he walked by. And so he sent cookies to our whole department. And it's like, we're just being nice. Like, we don't want anything from it, but it was a small gesture of appreciation for the fact that we're just, talking and yapping and, just being nice.
Just being yourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does. It makes a big difference. Especially relationship-wise.
Yeah, exactly. Because you never know, like, I know you kind of talked a little bit about Mr. Barnhart, and I actually saw him like a month ago. And, we've talked here and there, and, with dealing with a big time AD, you're like, all right, keep your space. Like, it's a bad thing if the AD knows your name. But then I was at the tennis match, and he comes up and he's like, hey, how you doing? Like, how have you been since you left? Like, stuff like that. I'm like, okay. So, like, deep down, he really does know. But, I mean, it's always good to make sure your name's not across his desk 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in a bad way.
Yeah, exactly. But just kind of fast forwarding a little bit, because you stayed at UK for three years?
Yeah.
3 years? Because I think what you kind of left. Did you leave after I left or before I left?
After.
That's what I thought.
After. Yeah.
What was that transition like? Like, what really was that deciding factor of like, all right, like it's time for me to take the next step and move on?
Yeah. So again, the glorified intern term, I know that's incorrect, but it's what you are as a comms assistant. And I'd spent 3 seasons, and it was just time for me to figure out what that next step was. I thought about leaving sports. I looked into med sales because I couldn't get a yes. I mean, I was making it to the ends of interviews. I'd make it to the top 2, and it would turn into, we really liked you, we really want to stay in contact, but this person is just closer in location and we can get them started faster, or this person has more experience with the type of social we're looking for, or, but then I'd make it to the top 2 and we want to stay in contact. We want to, that kind of thing. And I got frustrated. I really did. And I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to make more money than I'm making. Cause unfortunately that's what it comes down to a lot of times. I need to make more money. I need to figure out professionally what my next move is. And I need to level up. Essentially, when it came down to it, it was just time to level up. And so I knew that UK didn't have anything coming open anytime soon. I mean, that's one thing about Kentucky. Nobody ever leaves because it's a great place to work. I mean, why would you? So I knew that advancement within Kentucky wasn't going to happen. And so I either could stay where I was, and my biggest thing is to not get complacent. And I definitely was getting complacent because I was comfortable, and it was time to break out of that a bit. And it was time to kind of move on to that next step. So started applying, like I said, a lot of no's, the process. I was about to start applying for some med sales jobs, was ready to kind of take that step outside of sports, and just kind of, it was tough because I didn't know if I wanted to give up on it, is how it felt, as I was giving up, but I wasn't in hindsight. But that's how it feels at the time, is that you're giving up on something you've put so much money, so much time, so much effort, so much of your life, and the people around you have put so much of their lives into it too. I mean, my parents have supported me so much, couldn't have done any of this without them, but would not be who I am or where I am without them. That is for sure. But so I'd interviewed with NCAA for this position virtually, didn't hear anything back for a few weeks, kind of just not forgot about it, but just kind of was like, okay, well, probably another no, like whatever. Men's soccer lost in the Sun Belt tournament. We were driving back from Morgantown, and I get the email as we're driving back from Morgantown that I got an in-person interview. And so I thought, okay, well, this is promising. And yeah, the rest was history. My dad, he had recently retired, so the two of us came up to Indy, and I interviewed, and it was the right fit, and it was the perfect step up and the perfect stepping stone for sure for my career. But yeah, I got to a point the year before, I felt like it was time to leave, but I didn't know exactly what that looked like, and I was really upset about it. I remember at the end of men's soccer, I loved men's soccer. The guys were amazing. The coaching staff was amazing. I absolutely adore Johan Sedergren, but Johan, I remember crying. Like, I made such a scene of myself, which when I start, I can't stop crying. Like it's over when it starts. And so I'm like in his final video interview of the season, I'm like bawling my eyes out. It happened the next year too, don't worry. But I ended up coming back for another year, and it was great. And it got to a point where I made it through another season with soccer, and I thought, I want to stay here, but I know it's time. Like, it's almost like I knew it was time to move on, and I knew it was time to take that next step. I just didn't know what that next step was going to be, but it's like I was mentally ready. And you just know. I don't know how to explain it. You just know it's time. And yeah, so I took a leap of faith and moved again. Another time I moved, but I just knew, I don't know. It got to a point where I was complacent, and I know when I get complacent, I get way too comfortable. It's time to make that next move. So that's really where I got.
And being in your present mindset, do you feel like this is the last stop for you? Or do you feel like there's higher goals and achievements that you want to reach in your career field?
Yeah, I definitely think this is a stepping stone. It's a very good stepping stone. I've been here, gosh, year and a half now. I'm about to enter my second World Series here coming up. So I've been here a year and a half, and I look back where I was a year and a half ago, and I have accomplished and learned so much. And it's been really good for me, especially professionally. But no, this isn't my last step, and I know it's not. Do I love the people I work with, and do I really love the job? Yes, but I also know that Indy and the NCAA are not my destination. I don't think I'm going to be one of those people that's here for the next 10, 20 years, but definitely I'm here for now, and I'm happy, and I'm very much okay with being here, but and being with this job. But I definitely think that it's a stepping stone in my career.
Yeah. Is there any potential ideas that you can say that you would love to work in, to where it's like, if I can propel myself up to this level or this area or this organization, like that's where I might stay there for long term?
Yeah, I don't really know, honestly. I'm one of those people where I make friends everywhere I go. I can talk to a wall. Pretty much I'm happy no matter where I am. And so it's like, I went back to Vegas not too long ago for men's Frozen 4 for hockey. And I was like, oh, I need to move back. Like, I love it here. But then I go home and I'm like, I want to move closer to home. I miss my parents. Like, yeah. So I don't really have like an ideal place that I want to move to necessarily. I don't really have an ideal, like, I want to do this job. I want to live here. I want to build a life here. I don't know. And that's kind of something I've been trying to figure out a little bit, kind of what is my end goal? I don't really know. I know that my next step, I'm looking for more leadership opportunities. So I'm currently an assistant director of social for the NCAA. And so I have some leadership opportunity, definitely have, been getting more, I'm over our post-grad intern, and have been, in a management course, and, just different little opportunities for leadership. And I also manage a team per sport with contractors who make it happen too. So I'm definitely in more of a managerial role than I have been before. But yeah, I know I definitely want that next step to have more leadership opportunities, to have more responsibilities outside of the job itself. But I know that it's a foundation. You've got to build it brick by brick. And so I don't think there are opportunities at the NCAA necessarily right now to advance, but time will tell. And if there are opportunities to advance and to keep elevating here, then I'm definitely interested. But yeah, I know I definitely want to take on more leadership, definitely take on some more responsibilities. I just, like I said, complacency is a big one for me, and I just don't want to get complacent. I don't want to get to a point where I'm very stagnant and I'm comfortable, because the minute I'm complacent and I'm comfortable, I feel like that's when I kind of stop learning and growing. And I never want to pigeonhole myself into that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have like a great answer for you, but I know that like leadership is definitely something that I'm interested in. And yeah, but I don't know. I don't have an ideal, I want to work here, I want to do this. Definitely social and PR. I mean, that's my wheelhouse for sure. But I also, I'm always open to kind of looking otherwise too, within like, corporate partnerships and branding and some more of that corporate relationship partnership type of thing. But I'm good at PR, I'm good at social, and I enjoy it. And I think that's that's a big thing for sure.
I think the common theme with you is that it's all about timing, and before you know it, something will slap you across the face and be like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is my next step.
Yeah.
From everything that you said.
For sure. Yeah. And It's funny because I really struggle with wanting to get ahead of myself. So like I'll start looking at jobs and be like, I need to figure it out. And I'm like, no, you don't. You need to just like enjoy what you're doing right now, and it's going to happen. Like you've gotten this far because it's all fell into place, and it's all going to keep falling into place. You don't need to rush it. And I think that that's something like I've really had to work on, is like trying to stay in the moment and enjoy where I'm at right now, enjoy the city I'm in right now, and quit trying to micromanage my life to a certain extent of like, I need to move on. I need to do this. Like, no, you don't. You need to chill out and just explore the city you're living in and enjoy it. Enjoy the job you're doing without thinking about what's next. Like, it's okay. It's okay to chill right now. Of course, you want to be preparing for whatever those next steps are and kind of what you envision that next step to be. But that's a big thing. I mean, and it is. I'm like, it's all going to work out. It's all going to work out. It always does. It always does. It's just a matter of telling myself that I need to chill out.
Yeah.
Or like relax. Like you're good. But that's just something that I have to, just be mindful of. And I'm like, this is where I'm at right now is great. I can't complain. It's great. The people I work with are great. The job is great. The opportunities the job brings are great. The city's great. So I'm like, I just need to chill. I just need to chill out and enjoy it because it's not going to last forever. I mean, I don't know if the next city I move to is even going to be it forever either, but I wouldn't mind for it to be. I'm like, the moving is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, definitely. And you kind of mentioned, sorry, what did you say?
Especially when it's cross country. Over and over.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned earlier in the show that you were at a crossroads of maybe you should stay in sports or maybe you should get out of it. And I know there's a common theme from everyone around our age who has worked in athletics, whether it's at the professional level or the collegiate level, to where it's like they're almost at a point to where it's not worth it anymore, from the burnout to the time commitment to the missed family gatherings. Why do you think, if there is any one particular reason why a lot of our age group is getting out of athletics and going into more of a traditional setting?
Yeah, I definitely think burnout is a huge piece of it. I don't think we talk about it enough. I think from, social media is a highlight reel. And I know better than anybody because that's literally what pays my bills. So, social from the outside, working in sports looks so glamorous and so wonderful and so amazing. And it is. I mean, definitely has its perks, but I think the piece that's not talked about enough is how taxing and demanding it is. I mean, when you break it down to something as simple as when you've worked all week, something fun you're going to do on a Saturday is go to a basketball game. Well, that's someone's work day. You're going to drink a beer, have a hot dog, hang out, watch some sports, but it's not just the athletes that are making it happen. It's the media relations staff, the social staff, the athletic trainers, the game presentation, the marketing, the ticketing, you name it, plus all the interns, plus all, and it's a 24/7, 365 job. It just is. And it's very easy to get burnout, and it's very easy to have the fun sucked out of it to a certain extent too. Cause I mean, it's your job. It's a lot of other people's entertainment, but then when it's your job and you're doing it every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you add doing something like social media on top of it where it doesn't stop. Social does not stop. I mean, it literally is a constant, there's something constantly that needs to be posted, and it's very demanding. It's very taxing physically and emotionally. And I mean, you don't sleep. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that I got home from games at 2 a.m. I mean, just recently I did 3 championships in a 3-week span, and it's fun. I love it. It's a great time. It's hard work, but it's like your job is for others' entertainment. And that doesn't stop. And I think the burnout is something that we really don't talk about enough. And I think that a lot of people our age do start missing out on a lot of life events. I mean, I literally I make it a point to make everything work. And sometimes when I can't make it work, I'm really upset about it. So like one of my friends from Houston, she's getting married and I can't be at her wedding because it's the first day of Omaha. But then at the end of Omaha, the way it works out on the off day, I'm able to fly home and be in my like little sister's wedding from home, like not blood related, obviously, but, mentioned I was an only child a few times, but, she, is like one of my best friends from high school, my little sister, like I'm in her wedding, but it's like, I am literally sacrificing myself to be there for her and be there as part of her day because I don't want to miss it. And so it gets to a point when you want to start having a family, when you want to start, getting in a serious relationship, when you start kind of shifting your priorities, sometimes you just have to make a career change because it doesn't fit anymore. And I don't think we talk about it enough. I don't think especially people our age talk about how demanding working in sports is because it does look so glamorous. It is so glamorous to a certain extent. Like I'm on the court with, these athletes that people are like crying over and wanting their autograph and spent their life savings to be at the game. And it's just another work day. It's not just another work day, but like, you know what I mean? It's just like, That's just my job. I'm getting paid to be there. Like it's my job. Of course it doesn't. There are moments like when the trophy's lifted at championships or when, somebody clinches a spot to go to the championship game or whatever, you get the chills and you're like, oh crap, this is why I do this. This is why I love it. And it's like, it almost like pulls you back in when you have certain moments like media day and seeing the athletes come in and be so excited to be shooting content for you and, whatever. But I think burnout's a huge thing. And I think that it gets to a point where our priorities shift the older we get. And I think when you're like 23 and you have no commitments and you have no responsibilities and you're just bebopping along, heck yeah, let's move all over the country 700 times in a year. It's a blast. But then, I'm edging on 30, which I hate to say out loud, but
don't remind me.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. But when you're edging on 30, it's like, oh, my priorities are a little bit different now. My parents are getting older. My grandparents are getting older. And it's like, okay, am I close enough to home? Do I want to move further away from home and hope to God that they move out with me? Or, what do I want more of my life to look like after, or not after, but like outside of sports? My least favorite question ever is, what do you do for fun outside of work?
Yeah, I'm like, there is no answer.
I've taken up needle pointing. I feel like a cute little yeah, I literally somebody asked me not so long ago, they're like, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, work.
Yeah, that is my fun.
I work for fun. I don't know. I don't know what I do for fun. What is fun? No, work is fun, but it's the truth. I think that burnout is a huge thing. I think that we don't talk about it enough because it's so taboo. And I think that everybody expects, because we work in sports, for it to be this wonderful, life is amazing, best job ever type of thing. And yes, it absolutely is to a certain extent. But I think what we don't talk about is how taxing it is when it comes time for weddings, when it comes time for birthdays, when it comes time for Christmas, Thanksgiving. I mean, I went home for my birthday in February, and it just, first of all, terrible week to go home. I should have looked at my schedule. That was on me. But, I'm trying to celebrate my birthday with my family while I'm trying to get opening weekend going for baseball. I'm trying to make sure gymnastics is in a good spot. My contractors are learning, and so I'm trying to help train them as they go. I mean, it was a total cluster. And it's that was a prime example of sports. It's you get to be part of those life events, but the sacrifice to do so, you really, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. And so I think that a lot of people our age kind of get sick of that sacrifice and get tired of making it.
Yeah. And I think we could honestly go on and have a whole podcast episode just about burnout and everything working in the athletics realm that people don't really see until they pull back that curtain and they're like, oh, you literally got to be there 12 hours before the game, or you can't leave till 4 hours after the game.
That's such a good point too. I mean, I think about Working in college, especially, I mean, we would be there for a 4 o'clock game, or not 4 o'clock game, like a 7 o'clock game at 4 o'clock, and then wouldn't leave until midnight plus, or, you know, you're there earlier than that. And it's like people are showing up at game time, sitting down, watching the game and leaving. And they don't realize the amount of work that's before and after, because it's entertainment, it's fun for them. But when it's your job, it's like the amount tacked on. It may be a 2-hour game, but your commitment's not for 2 hours. It's way beyond that. And so, yeah, I think that's a good point too. The time commitment. I mean, there's always something. There's always something going on. There's always something you're committed to, and there's not really a balance. And so you almost have to there's no work-life balance at all, but you have to just make one. You almost have to just mold that work-life balance into what is best for you. And it may not look like taking your weekends off, but it may look like, okay, in the evenings, I'm going to not take my phone. I'm going to go for a walk. I mean, it like literally can be something as simple as that. Or I've had a really hard week. I'm going to DoorDash my favorite restaurant for a treat on Friday while I work a baseball game, or, you know, and you just basically have to mold your life around work. And that's not the case for a lot of people, because your work is their entertainment. And it's like, you see it from a different lens, I think, when you're in it.
I agree. Just kind of asking a couple quick questions before we wrap it up into the Make It Matter segment.
Perfect.
What would you say would be the biggest advice if you had to go back and tell your undergrad self a great piece of advice? What would you say that would be?
Oh, gosh. Don't be afraid to change your major. Because I was terrified. I was like, I want to be a dentist. Like, I'm failing. No, don't be afraid to change your major. Don't be afraid to take a chance. And don't be afraid to do things that people say you're crazy to do. I mean, I'll never forget, like, being like, I want to work in sports. And it's like, and do what? Like, you want to, I mean, my parents, they're literally the best. They're so supportive. But I remember they were kind of like, you want to do what? And then I've opened them up to like a whole new world of the sports and the sport industry. But it's like, people call you crazy. People think you're nuts and are like, how are you going to make money doing that? How are you going to make a living doing that? It's like, girl, just do your thing. Like, you'll be fine. You can pay your rent. You'll be good. You can support your Lulu addiction. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to change your major. Don't be afraid to take a chance. And that's what college is for. I mean, take a leap of faith, because that's the time. If you're going to fall on your face, that's the time to do it.
What would you tell someone that has been almost in your same exact spots, to where they're applying for colleges or they're applying for jobs or internships and they just keep getting rejection letters over and over again? What is something that you would tell someone in those shoes?
It sucks, period. It sucks. Like, it's not easy. It absolutely is a hit to your confidence and a hit to your self-worth when you're getting no after no after no. And you're like, okay, well, like I said earlier, I've put all this time, all this money, all this effort, all this passion, all this life into working in this industry, and I can't find a job. What do I do? And I almost think it took me looking for another industry, kind of looking. I mean, honestly, I'll be completely transparent. I've looked at med sales since I've worked at the NCAA. I mean, just kind of looking at other options when I have had moments of, this is too much. It's too much. I'm pulled way too many directions. I'm miserable. I mean, when I went home for my birthday, back to that, my mom, I remember she was like, are you okay? I was like, no. I'm literally like, I'm being pulled in because I was also covering the Olympics at the same time for hockey. Also trying to make sure the hockey season didn't explode and that my contractor was fine and trucking along there too. So it's like, you wear so many hats that it's like, oh my gosh, get me out of here. I hate everything about this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so stressed out. And there are moments like that when you just kind of have to look outside of sports and kind of weigh your options. But yeah, I would definitely tell somebody that is getting a lot of no's, don't be afraid to look elsewhere. Don't be afraid to, it may not be a sports team, but there are a lot of agencies. Look at an agency, that handles sport clients. Look at, kind of weigh your options, and can you connect with someone on LinkedIn and pick their brain? Maybe they have some advice. Maybe they have an open door for you. Maybe they have, oh, I know so-and-so who knows so-and-so, and they can connect you. So just don't be afraid to weigh your options, because I think that a lot of times when I've taken a step back and weighed my options is when a lot of good stuff has happened.
Now we'll go ahead and enter the Make It Matter segment. And again, Allison, you've told us a great life story about your highs and lows, the burnout, everything in between, and working in an industry to where it could easily chew you up and spit you out at any moment. Why do you keep continuing to do what you do, and why do you make it matter?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, everyone's going to have an opinion. Everyone's going to have something to say, whether it's positive or negative, and you just have to trust yourself, trust your gut. And I know that that's so cheesy, like trust your gut, but it's the truth. I know that this is the right industry for me. I know that I am successful and I will continue to be successful. But I've also been working my butt off. And I think that it matters a lot to look back and be like, the work wasn't for nothing. And I think just continuing to keep your head down, work your butt off, and continue to just remain positive. I think that that's a huge thing. I also think faith is a big thing as well. I think being able to just trust that the plan's already set. I'm just putting it in motion. And so, being able to just be faithful in the plan, be faithful in myself, and know that I'm capable, know that I'm worthy, know that I'm able, know that I'm putting all this work into myself as much as I'm putting it into my job, and I'm worth that work, and I'm worth that effort, and my dreams are worth that effort, because at the end of the day, if you want it bad enough, it's going to work out. It just may not look like what you envision it to. So I think making it matter has been a lot about keeping my head down, treating others like I want to be treated, be kind to people, because you never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to have a conversation with and where they may lead you, if anywhere. So yeah, that was kind of a lot all at once, but I love it. Yeah, I definitely think just, be yourself. And I know, again, cheesy, but be yourself. I think you have the power to make this life whatever you want it to be. And I think that just staying in your lane, do your thing, and stay confident in who you are, and don't let this industry spit you out. I mean, God knows it's chewed me up and spit me out quite a few times, but I've bounced back. And I think resiliency is a huge, huge key to success, especially in an industry like this, because the amount of no's I've gotten outweigh the yeses, 100%. I've gotten so many no's and only a handful of yeses, and I bounce back. And so just staying concrete in what you want, what your goals are, who you are, and staying true to that and not letting anyone sway you otherwise, and just working your butt off. I mean, you have to work your butt off for this industry. I mean, it's so competitive and it's so cutthroat, but I think, just be confident in yourself and be who you are, and just continue to be resilient. And I think it'll get you a really far way. I
love that.
Thank
Well,
you.
Allison,
Post-it note, so I live by it.
Yeah, put it on your refrigerator.
Yeah, remember when you said,
on this day on the radio, this is what I said, so I need to stick to it.
Exactly.
Well, Allison, I appreciate you hopping on the show. This is by far our longest episode ever, but it's episode 100, so we had to go with a boom.
Yeah. If you're still listening at this point, shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out. I mean, hopefully everyone is listening.
I hope so. I am a yapper. We should have known that.
Yeah, I know. That was one of the precautions of getting you on the show. But I was like, you know what?
Child, I work in social media and public relations. It was a horrible combination.
Yeah, we might just scratch this whole episode out.
Oh, don't do that.
No.
100 never shows.
Yeah. We'll bring you back on for episode 200.
Amazing. Part 2.
Yeah, part 2. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm actually episode 100 and 101, part 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to split this episode into 2 parts. Yeah, probably should. But Allison, go ahead and tell all the listeners and the viewers on where they can find you on social media to keep up with your journey.
Yes, you can follow me at Allyson Warren _. I spell my name kind of weird. Shout out to my mom. I never had a keychain as a kid at the beach, but whatever. I'm not bitter. It's ALLYSON Warren _. And you can find me on IG, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you connect with me on Facebook, that's a little weird, but like go for it. But yeah, I will follow you back. So shout out.
Perfect. Make sure to go follow our other guys, TKD2 Gaming on all social media platforms, our guy Dear Siege on all social media platforms. Also the head honcho Dear Michael with his Dear Messenger page. Also, if you want great freaking apparel like this, make sure to go check out our website, dearradioshow.com. Don't worry, Allison, I got some stuff ready to send to you. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah, I got your back. I knew you were gonna get upset, so I had to say that.
I'm like,
yeah, I got you. Don't worry. But make sure to go check out that website. It's got all our new collections out, some pretty sick stuff. And then also, most importantly, go follow our Instagram pages, our Twitter pages, Dear Radio Show, TikTok, YouTube, and last but not least, go follow the Brankston on all social media platforms. Great content. That guy, chef's kiss. Yeah, great guy. He
moonlights as a soccer coach at Kentucky, or at least he used
to. We'll save that for part 2. But Allison, thanks for joining Dear Radio. You guys can catch us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And I hope to see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.